First off, there we got the fact that there are literally 4 New York Giants guys. 4
Craziness.
that are going to go ahead and get into the Hall of Fame potentially here as they reach the next round of senior voting. Senior voting. That's like when you've reached over the age of 65 and you get a discount on coffee. No, it's a committee that if you haven't played basically in 25 years, the committee meets up and decides who they want to go ahead and add there at that point. They got to the first round. They got 4 Giants. It's weird. The Giants actually listed as 3 Giants. And oh yeah, by the way, so and so got in as well. I'll get to the so and so in a person, but they didn't include him as a full-on ex-Giant. Probably because he used to play for the Cowboys for a lot of years, I'm guessing maybe. But the guy played for a Giant. Once a Giant, always a Giant. Unless you're Eli Apple. That's the one exception we give on that whole thing there. But, that's what it's supposed to be. So I don't care if you started out as a Cowboy. You played for the Giants. You got a ring with the Giants. You're a Giant as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, 4 guys. You got Charlie Conerly, the legendary quarterback who was literally the original face of the franchise for a lot of years. Linebacker Carl Banks, who's, of course, still the voice of the New York Giants on play-by-play radio. Running back Otis Anderson, we talked about there a couple episodes ago. And the defensive back Everson Walls, who's the guy I mentioned, was best years was with the Cowboys. Let's be honest. If he goes in the Hall of Fame, he goes in as a Cowboy. But he still was a Giant. He still played for the Giants. He still got a ring with the Giants. Like most Cowboy players, he had to leave the Cowboys to win a ring. Oh.
True.
Like DeMarcus Ware. So they're on to the next stage there. So they're not in the Hall of Fame, guys. There's still a couple of stages more to go, but it's good that they're progressing forward at that point there. So a little bit on those guys here. Charlie Conerly was the quarterback from 1948 to 1961, guys. So pretty long career there. Didn't even start playing. He was in his late 20s, guys. So, could have been even longer if there was a modern football era, so to speak there. 2 Pro Bowls, 1 NFL championship, was the 1959 NEA MVP. Carl Banks, I don't think that guy needs much introduction there. Linebacker from 84 to 95, all but his last 3 seasons with the Giants. 1-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ. On the Hall of Fame's all 1980s team. And that, to me, is the biggest issue I have with the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Like, you literally said, oh, you're like one of the best at your position for this decade. We're going to put you on the all-NFL team for that decade, but you're not good enough to get in the Hall of Fame? Was the 1980s a crappy year for linebackers that I'm unaware? Like, that's ridiculous. If you get onto one of those decade teams, you should automatically be in the Hall of Fame. That means you are one of the best of your generation, which is exactly what the Hall of Fame is. Now, I will say Carl Banks' numbers do not jump at you, and I think that's probably his biggest issue. He's one of those guys that you watch and you see the eye test, and you really see how good he is. But if you're going purely based on numbers, he's not a Hall of Famer. But the eye test, and people actually got to watch him play, realize that man knew football, sniffed things out, moved things along, got things going at that point, and helped his teammates a lot pick up snaps at that point, pick up tackles and all, because people were trying to get out of the way of where Carl Banks was going. So, and then obviously afterwards, you got, again, the radio part of him, the media part for years and years. I think that does go into that to a certain degree, because it's still it's something you gave to the football community, so to speak there. It's definitely should qualify as part of that there. Otis Anderson, we talked about again last 2 episodes ago, I believe it was, running back from 1979 to 1992, played his last 7 seasons with the Giants, 10,273 rushing yards, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, and was the MVP of Super Bowl 25. So, yeah, decent record there. We talked about it. It's a different era. And that's part of the issues going into it. Because if you told me a guy right now gets 10,000 yards rushing, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
One guy we have in the NFL right now that I tell you will probably hit the 10,000 yard mark, and that's Derrick Henry. So that's it, guys. I think the second most active rushing yards is Ezekiel Elliott. That's crazy. Like, that's absolutely insane. So yeah. Henry's actually going to hit. I'm looking up the numbers here. He's going to hit it probably this weekend. He's got 18 yards to go. So I think it's a pretty safe bet he'll hit it. Ezekiel Elliott, 89, 85. That's where he's at. And then you go all the way down to guys who do like 6,000 yards at that point, like Joe Mixon, Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. All those guys are 6 to 6,600 yards. That's just how good Derrick Henry is. So, it's weird because, again, that's a number now that you hit it, you're in automatically. Not so much back then because there was a lot more running backs. But what's interesting is we asked you all, those who actually got the chance to watch him play, what you thought. Because, again, Rob and I were like not even born basically during his best years. 79 to 81 was his first 3 seasons. That was his best years. And we just weren't around for it. I was born in 82. Rob a couple of years later after that. So he didn't get that chance.
A couple.
Okay, 1.5. You all 2. Deal.
3.
Okay, that's not that much more than a couple. It could be a throuple.
Yeah.
A modern couple.
82.
But yeah, everybody that we asked, that answered that question said, yeah, point blank, I watched him play. The guy was a beast. He was a Hall of Famer. So, hopefully they remedied that mistake then. Everson Walls, cornerback from 1981 to 1993. His best years were basically the early 80s when he first came into the league as a Cowboy and was just an absolute beast. Spent 90 to 92 with the Giants, 4-time Pro Bowler. And they got those in his first 5 years in the league, guys. That's what I mean. When I mean he was good back then, like those first couple of years, he was damn good. 1 first-team All-Pro, 2 second-team All-Pros, 1 Super Bowl champ with the Giants, of course, and led the league in interceptions 3 different times in his career. So, again, that's an impressive career. I'm going to give it to the people that were actually around for it to make their decision if he's Hall of Fame. I don't like to make that call for people that I haven't extensively gotten the chance to watch in his best years again, or when I was, in diapers. Maybe I'll get a chance to watch him again, when I'm in diapers later on in life. Who knows? I mean, it's just free time to watch all these players. But yeah, guys, 4. And keep in mind this year, Eli Manning's first year to eligible to vote for to put him in the Hall of Fame. Tom Coughlin still not in the Hall of Fame. This could be a Giants Hall of Fame class, guys. How nice would that be?
Finally, something good for the Giants.
Absolutely. And I'm going to still make the case. There's one guy who who I'm probably going to mention here, because there's one guy that was not on this list that I still think deserves a shot at the Hall of Fame. A guy who has not played since the 60s, guys. And that's Jimmy Patton, who was also a New York Giant. 5-time All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. Guy who's never even sniffed getting close into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, but if you got 5 years of being the best at your position, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Flat out. So, another guy, I hope that we eventually remedy that one. But in the meantime, we got 4 guys who might get in senior status-wise. I don't know if they give him a silver jacket instead of the gold jacket there, but,
Take what you can get. Beggars can't be choosers at this point.
It's platinum. It's not.
Yeah. But I think you're cold. You should still get a jacket.
But, again, you got those guys. And like I said, you got two Giants potentially going in that are, traditional way as well. So, like I said, it'd be nice to get all Giants pretty much Hall of Fame class. And then, like I said, maybe Rob and I go over to Canton to go see it happen at that point.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.